Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV.
Welcome to another edition of the Pets Add Life podcast. It's October, Chris. Can you believe that?
I know, it's October 1st. Spooky season is officially here. I'm taking the skeletons out of the closet. I'm putting the cobwebs back up. I'm buying candy in bulk. I'm eating apple cider
it's my favorite
donuts.
Time of year.
Yeah, me too.
I've
I
already
love
been,
fall.
But I've got to admit, I've been drinking pumpkin spice lattes since the middle of September, so I couldn't hold out for October.
Middle of September is fine. I thought you were gonna say like July. I was gonna throttle you through the computer.
Hey, and you know what? I keep meaning to remind our viewers to check out our new website, petsaddlife.org.
Yes.
I think they launched this kind of secretly. Like I just found out about it last week, and it looks great.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's all sorts of resources on there. As a reminder, I mean, I know we have a lot of fun on this show with our two guests, our two stories, our two products, and our two questions, but Pets Add Life as an organization is dedicated to making pet ownership more accessible to everybody. There's a lot of really great resources on that website. If you are a pet owner, if you're considering to be a pet owner, there's a lot of great stuff on there to help you find the right animal for you and learn a little bit on how to take proper care of it. So check out the new digs, and while you're there, go to the podcast page and see our beautiful faces. You can see some of the video content and find episodes of your favorite podcast right then and there.
That's right. I was thinking too. It might be a good way to if you're already starting to think about your holiday gift list, you could scroll back through old shows and check out our products of the week, because we share some really good stuff on the show. So
that said, if it's October 1st and you are already thinking about your holiday gift list, congratulations. You're a Kristen, not a Chris. You're well prepared. You probably do your taxes like in January. You've never been late to anything. You had perfect attendance in school. So congrats. I will be thinking about Christmas shopping December 18th.
Oh my gosh. And then your selection will be limited.
No. My usually what I end up doing is just hand making stuff because I don't have time or money.
Hand making stuff.
Yeah. I make pickles for people. People really enjoy the pickles that I make, so I'll do stuff like that. No. Our producer is laughing at me right now, and he's in India, so he's not supposed to be laughing at me. He's supposed to be vacationing in India, not laughing at my idea of what a proper gift is. So anyway, we're way off topic. We're gonna get into a great show.
Where were we?
We've got an awesome show lined up for you all, but first we're gonna do some stories. So let's head right on over to the story corner.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
Now we have a story corner. I like that.
It's a story corner. It's story
time. I feel
time
like I'm in a
Chris
library.
Yeah, it's a corner where you wear one of those big cone hats. Dunce.
Why don't you?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the story corner as a kid growing up.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Story in quotations.
Yeah.
I might have mentioned this a few shows back, but I was honored to attend the Human Animal Bond HABRI Awards, which stands for, help me out here, Chris, Human Animal Bond Research Institute.
You got it.
Right?
You got that's
okay,
first
okay.
try. First try.
Okay. Anyway, they had an innovation awards, and one of the groups that won an award is called Cancer Care. Now, this is a group that is it's a nonprofit organization that helps people who are dealing with cancer treatment. But they actually have a sub-program within that group called the PAW program. So it stands for Paw Assistance and Wellness. And what they do is they help people all over the country who are struggling with a cancer diagnosis, treatment, what have you. They help them stay with their pets, to be able to keep their pets throughout their treatment. And just some of the features of the PAW program include education that's focused on, how to care for your pets throughout your cancer journey, including they've got videos, guides, fact sheets, because, when you're hyper focused on your own health, it becomes more challenging to care for others, right? So they have a whole searchable online database of low cost and free pet care services. They also offer financial assistance to some of those who may have trouble affording, their pet's basic needs when they're struggling with this diagnosis. So they won an award, and I can't think of a better recipient. They're doing some incredible work, and studies show that pets are part of our healing process. And I can't imagine going through a difficult time in any type of challenge in life without having pets in my life. So they're helping us keep our pets with us if we're dealing with a cancer diagnosis. So kudos to the PAW program at Cancer Care.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I can't imagine having to deal with that kind of diagnosis and being separated from my pet. So that's really great stuff.
By the way, you can donate to them. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Most important. If you want to learn more more information or to donate, just go to cancercare.org and you can find the PAW program pretty easily on the homepage.
Great. Well, I'm
right,
going to
Chris,
keep this energy going.
Uplift us with a happy story now.
No, I'm going to keep it going. We want to talk about bad stuff. I'm going to talk about what happens when you die. And what happens when you die is everybody wants some of your stuff. And it's true. And more and more people are putting their pets in their wills. And I want to talk about a bit. There's this Wall Street Journal article about putting pets in your will is no longer just for eccentric billionaires. And I want to talk about the story that sort of framed this because I just found it so fascinating. And then I want to talk about what you guys should be doing at home. So there's this billionaire here. And unfortunately, Wall Street Journal, this was not behind a paywall when I first clicked on it, but now it is. So I'm not going to be able to get into the details, but there's a billionaire named Lana Helmsley who set aside $12 million for her Maltese. So that's in the will. Now, remember, you could put anything in a legal document. That doesn't mean it's going to uphold in court. So her heirs took this whole thing to court and fought the dog's $12 million. And eventually it was like knocked down because $12 million to a dog. What's a dog going to do with $12 million? Okay. Dogs don't understand money. I do understand being like, I want this dog to be taken care of. So here's some money set. I just muted myself because I'm getting so into this. This is why I sit on my hands really fired up this show. Yeah, I'm fired up over talking about death and wills. But anyway, they you want to leave this person wanted to leave some money aside, knowing that wherever the dog goes, whoever is taking care of them is going to have access to funds to make sure they get all the luxurious stuff that they're used to. Now, this ended up getting knocked down to about $2 million at the end of the day, with the other 10 being dispersed among the heirs. But there's some important lessons to be learned here on what you as an average person can be doing right now to protect your pet from an uncertain future. Stuff that does uphold in court really well is saying who you want to take care of the pet. Pets legally count as personal property. Therefore, if it's not stated specifically in the will, it will go to whoever inherits the estate. So if there's somebody in mind that you want taking care of your pet and you have a will, or if you haven't had a will, go do it. It's fun. It's a fun time. You get to talk about it's like, wow, look at all this stuff we have. Who's going to get it? Who do we like? Who do we actually like and want to have our stuff? It's kind of goofy. Take it lighthearted, but everybody should really be thinking about that kind of stuff, especially if you have a pet. Because you can state who you want to take care of it. And that will be legally binding. They will be allowed to take the animal without any fuss and fuss. So if you've got a fun uncle or prefer one sibling over when maybe one sibling has a big backyard and you want to make sure the dog goes there, that's something that you could go do right now and take care of. So a little bit of learning from that article. But I'm not even going to post this in the show notes because Wall Street Journal put up a paywall behind it, so I'm a little salty about it. But look up that story on Lana Helmsley because that got passed around quite a bit because people couldn't believe
I remember
that. 12 million.
I bet Leona is rolling over in her grave though, finding out that her heirs got 10 of the 12 million or billion.
I'm just going to say that's how you get haunted. That's how you get haunted.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't believe in ghosts, but ghosts believe in me, and that's how you get haunted.
So how do you avoid your wishes being squashed by the legal system? Like if I were Leona, I would have left maybe $1 million to the dog for the best care possible, and then the other 11 million to a nonprofit pet organization.
Yeah, the issue was that she literally named the dog as the recipient. And again, that's
Don't
not
be a Leona.
Yeah, they can't, like a dog, as much as we think that they're people, they're not. They don't count as people in the law. They're not capable of advocating for themselves. They don't have the right to an attorney. They don't have the right to remain silent. So, what I would do is, if you want to leave money for an animal, leave it to a specific person as a trust, with the contingency that this trust fund is to be used for the care of this animal. I'm not a lawyer, so don't ask me. No, I'm not a vet. I'm not a lawyer.
I have a story that's right on point with this. I have a friend who was the designated caretaker for her friend's pets in her will, in her estate plan. The friend passed away a year ago, and she had agreed to moving into the woman's house and caring for her 3 pets until those pets passed away. Now, the pets are younger, like 2 and 3 years old. So my friend, literally, upon the death of her friend, had to sell her condo, move into her friend's home with her 2 dogs, and is now living. I mean, it's funny because we all asked her, we're like, why did you agree to doing that? And she said, well, I didn't think she was going to die. but
yeah,
and again, I'm not making light of death here, but it's really important that you have these conversations with the friends or family members that you want to, leave your pet to for the best care, and make sure everybody knows what they're getting into. Because
that sounds like the great start to like a Blake Lively movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's going to be like a single woman living in this condo, and her friend is going to pass. She's going to move into this house with all these animals. There's going to be some goofy character who lives next door. They're going to fall in love. Maybe they'll start a zoo. I don't know. Let's just write that down in the list of ideas. That'll make me really
Ron
rich.
is texting us from India telling us to move on.
He's actually texting Bollywood right now because we're going to get this one made. Hollywood won't have it, but Bollywood's going to gobble this one up. We can move on. We're moving on.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right, joining us now is Alexis Devine, the creative mind and loving guardian behind the internet sensation Bunny. The Bunny, by the way, is the talking sheepadoodle. Now, together, they've captivated millions with their unique journey into interspecies communication, where Bunny uses a set of over 100 buttons to express her thoughts and emotions. Now, Alexis is a passionate advocate for human-animal connections and has not only trained Bunny to communicate, but has also embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing through this profound bond. Her memoir, I Am Bunny: How a Talking Dog Taught Me Everything I Need to Know About Being Human, explores the emotional and philosophical depths of her relationship with Bunny, offering readers a heartfelt and humorous look into ancient and evolving bonds between humans and their canine companions. Welcome, Alexis.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It really is an honor.
Yes,
I've been a fan for a very long time, to be honest.
Thank you.
Why don't we start out by just? Oh, sorry, Chris. I was just going to say.
Go ahead. You're getting right to what I was
so
going
excited.
to.
I know. So, Alexa, tell us what inspired you to start using the buttons with Bunny, and did you have any idea it would lead to such a profound connection?
No, I had no idea. It has completely changed the trajectory of my life. I had wanted a dog for a really long time, and the timing just hadn't been right. Like I was moving a lot, or I didn't have, a stable job. And finally, I was in a place where it was beginning to make sense. And my partner, Johnny, for years and years, when I'd ask, hey, maybe we should get a dog, he had been saying no, just flat out no. And finally, one year I asked, he didn't say yes, but he also didn't say no. He's like, okay, well, maybe a small dog. So I brought home a 60-pound dog. And before bringing her home, I was very dedicated to the idea that I wanted to have this sort of Lassie-esque relationship, this incredibly close bond, and develop the best communication I possibly could. So I began reading books, and I stumbled across Christina Hunger, who's a speech language pathologist. She was using these buttons with her dog to express sort of simple requests. And I was like, oh, I can definitely do that. No business teaching my dog how to talk, but I am frustratingly tenacious, is what a lot of people say. And so I figured I'd give it a shot. And I had an outside button waiting by the door for Bunny when I brought her home. And with sort of no idea how to proceed, I recorded the word outside on it, and I would press it every time we would be going outside. So she would hear the word, I would say the word, we would go outside. And then within a couple of weeks, my partner and I were watching Netflix, sitting on the couch or something, and Bunny was over by her button, and she was sort of looking down at it and looking back up at us. And then all of a sudden she lifted her paw and she smashed the button herself, and her ears flew up, and she looked so proud of herself, and I screamed. And it was sort of game on after that. I figured if she could learn one button, then she could learn two. If she could learn two, she could learn 100. So here we are now at 100 buttons, and it's been an incredibly rewarding journey in terms of the benefits I've seen to our relationship, in terms of how I have been able to come to know what's going on in her mind that I otherwise wouldn't have known. And also in terms of what's going on in my mind that I hadn't even considered before bringing Bunny home. So it's been truly transformational. And I am now a certified professional dog trainer, a family dog mediator. My life is dogs. I actually just moved to an off-grid property out in Washington. It's about 55 acres. And I really just wanted a space to be able to give my dogs the agency that they can't really experience in an environment where they always have to be on leash or don't have the ability to sort of run free. And it's been also transformational for all three of my dogs and myself.
Yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal. It's really cool to hear sort of that first moment that Bunny had when they realized, oh, like I could use this to communicate. And I've seen a few videos of other animals utilizing buttons. They usually stick to, maybe 5 at most. Was there a particular moment that sticks out to you where Bunny communicated something with her buttons where you went, oh my goodness, this dog is different. This dog's like truly special?
Well, two things. I think Bunny's brilliant. I love her to pieces. She's a very unique girl to me. But there are now hundreds of dogs that are communicating impossibly cool things. There are so many dogs now and cats that have been able to communicate when and where they're in pain. It just blows my mind. And that was actually the first moment where I was like, oh, this is important. This isn't just my dog wants to go outside and I can let them outside, because there are a million ways she could tell me that, right? Dogs are communicating all the time. And usually it's just that we're not listening. But she went over to her board and she pressed mad ouch. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And I asked for a little bit more information, and she pressed stranger paw. And then she walked over to me and she placed her paw in my hand, and there was a foxtail that was embedded in the webbing between her toes. And I was like, now this is something different. This is incredible. I recently heard a story of a dog who was consistently pressing bone ouch, and they couldn't figure out what that meant. And then they realized after several instances of their dog pressing this combination that they hadn't been chewing their bones. They hadn't been eating their bones, which they normally loved. So they took the dog to the vet, and it turns out it had bone cancer in its jaw. And they caught it before it was an emergency, which is rare. So this dog was able to communicate about a pain it had that was, something that needed immediate attending to, and then was able to recover from that. And those sorts of moments are the moments that truly blow my mind. We can already tell when our dogs want to play with us, when they want to treat, when they want to go outside. These things are things that are very easy for our dogs to communicate. But there are these other concepts that learners all over the world are communicating now that are just completely transforming the relationships that these guardians are able to have with their companion animals.
That's just mind blowing. I was just thinking about how your relationship is different with Bunny, and all the people that are using the buttons to communicate with their dogs, how How would you articulate the difference in your relationship with your dog to someone who's not using this system? What are we missing
Well,
out on if by not implementing this type of communication?
yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I think there's a lot of information you can get with words that would be harder to get without them, such as when and where our learners are in pain. But I also think that one of the benefits of buttons is that it immediately sort of creates a necessity for us to be active listeners, right? Because if
Yeah.
we're going to add words to the board that are salient to our learners, we have to be very carefully observing what they're looking at, what they're smelling, what they're interested in, what they react to, when their arousal goes up and goes down. So you can't, I don't think you can create a board of meaningful words for another being unless you are really taking the time to get to know them. For example, if someone were creating a button board for me and they put the word moist on it, I would never use that button. You know, so you really have to be intentional and make sure that these words are salient to your learners. You know, not all learners are going to love water or bath or hose. Not all of them are going to love, well, I was going to say pizza, but that's weird. All dogs love pizza, right? And all humans love, who doesn't love pizza?
Right.
But I think you understand what I mean. So it
Yeah,
creates
sure.
this really deep back and forth, because by necessity, in order for you to be adding words that they're going to be using, you have to be really listening and really observing and getting to know them.
Yeah. That makes
That's
sense.
great. Alexis, you have a book coming out, or is it out already?
It's out.
All right, it's out now. I Am Bunny, How a Talking Dog Taught Me Everything I Need to Know About Being Human. I love that title. And without giving too much away, you gotta leave something to the imagination. Can you just give us maybe your top line lesson that Bunny taught you through this process, and how they helped you along with your personal growth?
Yeah, I would say agency, empathy, advocacy. Um, Agency, there are mountains of research in humans that agency increases distress tolerance. And agency is something that, unfortunately, it can be challenging to allow our dogs to have, right? They are captive animals. The first thing we do when we go outside is put them on a leash and a long line, or, collar. And exploring the power that agency had to increase Bunny's distress tolerance, to allow her to observe her triggers, to decide when to move forward, when to move back, to take some of the control out of my hands and really let her manufacture her day, was so, so powerful. And I realized that so much of the trauma that I'd experienced in my past was due to a lack of control, a lack of feeling like I had the power to control my own outcomes. So that allowed me to really reflect on some of my past and revisit things through a new lens. And that was incredibly powerful to me personally. Empathy, observing our dog's behavior through a more empathic lens allows us to not pass those sort of value judgments on behavior. My dog is barking and looks like a crazy maniac when she sees this other dog. She's not being a bad dog. She's not aggressive. She's afraid. She doesn't know how to handle the situation. Viewing that interaction with an empathic lens, I was able to say, okay, maybe you want to get a little bit more space, or maybe I won't take you to the dog park anymore, which is something I did at first because I didn't know better. That's not the right place for her. You know, it's not all dogs love going to that environment. Some dogs, like some people, are a bit more introverted. So trying to really understand what was going on beneath the behaviors helped me help her, and it helped me help myself. And advocacy, really knowing how to advocate for Bunny in situations. She's very cute. People really want to touch her. And, I think it's a very common instinct when people see a cute dog to be like, oh my God. But, that is not necessarily how a dog wants to be approached. It's certainly not how Bunny wants to be approached. It's certainly not how I would want to be approached. So learning how to advocate for her in terms of being like, oh, she doesn't want to be touched, or, oh, she's not friendly, or whatever it is I say in that context, and making sure that she doesn't have to feel like she's going to be put in those situations. And that in turn, of course, helped me to advocate for myself. So it's been a really robust circle. Every time I learn something profound about Bunny, I'm also learning it about myself.
That's amazing. And this sounds like a must read for any dog parent or anyone who's thinking about getting a dog. Alexis,
Thanks.
tell us, what kind of advice would you give to a pet owner who's considering trying the communication buttons with their pets?
Yeah, so we actually have just been busy developing a very simple protocol that gets most learners pressing a button within a week or two. We recommend starting with 2 to 3 buttons, and we recommend concepts that are highly motivating to your learner. I started with an outside button. I don't necessarily recommend that anymore unless you've got a dog that's potty training, because it can be really hard to model that button enough times in the day to build that connection. But if you start with a food related button like snack or kibble or scritches or a play related button, those are things that are really easy to model multiple times in a day right at the board. You can just grab a handful of kibble, press the kibble button, toss a piece of kibble, press the kibble.
Right.
So it builds those connections a lot more quickly, and then it's really easy to expand. The toughest hurdle is helping your learners understand that they can use these buttons to control their outcomes, right? As soon as they've got that, they're like, ooh, I can make the monkey do things. Let's do this some more, you know? So, yeah, we've got tons of free information about that in the community too. There are lots of troubleshooting tips. We've got a whole academy that teaches courses as well, and there are tons of free resources if people want to learn more.
That's fantastic. Where
That's
can they
absolutely
find
amazing.
where can we find these resources?
Community.fluent.pet.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll find all the courses there. You'll find all the forums there. And I have the first 3 out of 4 videos of this little protocol that we've developed pinned to my Instagram page. I can only pin 3. That's why there's only 3 out of the 4. But if you scroll down, you can find the 4th. But those will be available on YouTube and within the community forum within a couple of days as well.
Great. I'm afraid to know what my cat Tiger might say about me. I think I'm good. I think I'm okay. Well, she's 21. I don't think she's going to be picking up any tricks in this chapter of her life. But
You never know.
She already does communicate, because she will stand at certain places in the home, and she's deaf, so she doesn't know like where we are. And she'll stand in a certain place in the home and just meow as loud as she can, and that's how we know what she wants. So maybe if she didn't already have a system set up, but I'd afraid she'd just be like, monkey dance. And
I mean, I personally would love to see that. So if you have the
so maybe
bandwidth,
for
please
you,
give her a monkey and a dance button.
As a gift for coming on the show. Yes, I can provide that for you.
Thank you. Of note, Billy the cat, who has recently passed, unfortunately, was a prolific button user.
Yeah.
And she started when she was, I think, 14, and she got up to
Wow.
almost 100 buttons as well. So we found that age doesn't really factor into the learning process here like we thought it might. You know, babies, human children have this sort of critical language learning period. We're not finding that in our animal companions. Also, we have Morgan, who hosts our boot camp. So anyone who purchases gets automatically a free button boot camp that they get to attend. Cool. And then they have 3 months of live mentorship as well to aid in getting them started. And she has had multiple blind and deaf cat learners who have been successful button users.
Wow.
So yeah, we really are taking it as far as we can, and we're seeing huge successes all across the board.
That's absolutely amazing. Maybe I'll give it a whirl. Maybe
yes, do it. Well, you promised. You promised.
I did promise. So it looks like I'll be heading over to fluent.pet and checking out all of the resources there and the buttons and getting that process going so that I can provide a funny little monkey dance video for our new pal Alexis.
Cannot wait.
Alexis, thank you so much for joining us today, and give our love to Bunny, and we can't wait to see what you all do next.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This has been a total blast.
I feel blessed. I feel seen by celebrity. I feel I truly feel accomplished in this moment. Alexis is amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. And what a talented dog trainer, somebody who really understands that mutual bond between herself and her dog. I'll be picking up a copy of that book, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And we have another brilliant dog trainer coming up next.
All right, joining us now is Annika McDade, the founder of Canine Connection Training, bringing over 15 years of experience in the field of dog training and behavior consultation. She is a triple certified professional behavior consultant and coach with a unique blend of science-based knowledge and spiritual curiosity. Annika's expertise lies in interpreting a dog's needs and behaviors, enabling owners to strengthen their bond and achieve training and relationship goals. Her diverse background includes training wolves in Inner Mongolia, holy crap, working with Great Pyrenees and dogs in France, and collaborating with rescues, sled dogs, and family pets in Canada. Annika's compelling journey as a radio personality, world traveler, energy worker, and adventure seeker enriches her approach to training, making her a natural at connecting with both dogs and their people. And if you don't think that's enough, Annika's going to have a new show, The Holistic Way, debuting on DOGTV. So we're going to go ahead and take a sneak peek of that right now.
Hello, my name is Annika, and today we're going to be discussing with you 3 myths that I am very passionate about busting because they can be damaging for your relationship with your dog. Times are changing, folks. What we once thought was true has been debunked. Let's dig in. This usually gets a little juicy. Letting your dog on the furniture is bad. Myth. Who doesn't love a good old couch cuddle? Let's get one thing very, very straight. A great way to bond with your dog is to allow them to be at your level. If you don't mind and your dog is into it, let that furry friend onto the couch and enjoy every last moment of cozy connection. Some breeds are untrainable. Myth. Every dog with a functioning brain, regardless of their breed or their age, can be trained. While different breeds may have unique traits or more ingrained patterns of behavior, positive reinforcement training methods work with all breeds of dogs, even huskies. A tired dog is always a happy dog. Myth. Physical exercise is crucial, but mental stimulation is equally, if not more important. If you overly focus on physically tiring them out, they might become overtired, and that's where a lot of not so fun behaviors develop.
That show looks awesome. I'm already sold.
Does.
And now we could formally welcome Annika to the PAL Podcast. Welcome, Annika.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super happy to be here today.
And I'm excited, and I have to start right away because I guess cold read your introduction and wolves in Inner Mongolia. Can we start there? Can we start with the wolves in Inner Mongolia and just talk about how you found yourself there and maybe what you learned from them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a 2-year period over the course of my 15-year career working with animals so far. And it was sort of at the beginning of my journey. I met a very wonderful human that was extremely talented and works with animals for film. And I sent him an email saying I would be really happy to clean up wolf poop if it meant hanging out with wolves. And pestered a few times and ended up having an incredible, humbling opportunity to go live overseas for 2 years on and off, working with him and learning from his team. And mainly I was a care provider for the wolves with the opportunity to train here or there. And man, they're pretty intense animals to be around. They will, a bit like horses, the energy that they hold is very commanding. And I learned very quickly that anything that I was feeling that was around self-doubt, they were mirroring at me. So if I was worried about something happening, that would happen, which is sort of an incredible life lesson to learn at 25 years old in Inner Mongolia, hanging out with 20 wolves. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, for sure.
That is incredible. And so, Annika, how did that inform your dog training today?
What a beautiful question. Thank you. I think it made me realize that there's so much more involved in connecting with our dogs or our animals around us than having control over and having them be obedient or have manners. I think, a lot can be achieved simply through prioritizing connection and relationship. And that the best way to do that is often in silence with great intention, and fairness and kindness. And it's not a lot about technique and tactics as much as it's about time and really honoring the relationship that you have. We had, out of almost 30 wolves, we could only touch probably 10 of them during that time.
Wow.
And so we learned how to get them to do really difficult things, like come back to us when they had freedom, by just relationship alone. And obviously they worked for food, just like I would encourage most of us to train with. So there was a food element, but yeah, I just learned the power of relationship overall was something that's available to us with dogs, cats, horses, and wolves.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like you have a very spiritual forward take on the relationship with dogs and with animals, and you sort of meld that with some science-based knowledge. So it's very obvious that the animals benefit from that type of thinking, but how can we as either animal husbands or animal owners benefit from that kind of thinking as well?
Yeah, I think that there's an invitation when we're hanging out with animals to become really present, to acknowledge how you entering a room impacts those around you. The lessons that we can learn from our dogs translate to how we relate to all the people in our lives. And so I look at our dogs as like these little beings that are on a soul contract with us. And what am I here to learn from you? And what am I here to teach you? And how can we find harmony in this crazy thing that we call life together? And it can be really hard when you have a dog that's got behavioral challenges or is evoking a lot of emotion in you and what feels like wreaking havoc in your life. Making peace with your pet and really finding some groundedness in the journey, especially when it gets hard, can really shape your life individually and your life with your pet.
You know what I love about your approach, Annika, is I think as dog parents, we often get really stressed out about, the training, the techniques, and are we going to screw it up for our dogs? But hearing you talk about the spirituality and the bonding and the relationship you build with your dog, that's something that feels easy and I'm excited to do with my dog. So it also sounds like you're prioritizing that over the techniques and the training, right? That comes first, does it?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, Kristen. I think a lot of people, when they don't feel like their dog is behaving in a way that they love, or they're struggling to connect with their dog, we hunker down on control and traditional training. But sometimes that can take us further from the connection that is required of us to kind of source that peace and connection, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. There's another way of achieving the goals and having the relationship and the behavior that you're after with your pet that doesn't involve technique and training or even doubling down on, especially using more aversive methods. Like there's actually a totally different way of doing it.
So, Annika, you've gone from wolves and now help rescue dogs largely, rehabilitate them and get them more training oriented. I imagine that it's two completely different things, wolves and rescue dogs. So what are some of the unique challenges that exist with these rescue dogs and some of the challenges you have to overcome to get them home ready and comfortable?
I just want to clarify, I'm mainly coaching the people how to connect with and train the dogs. So I don't train people's dogs at all. I'm more of a human coach than anything else. And to answer your question really directly, the hardest part about getting any dog, whether a rescue or a purebred, is that our expectations of them in 2024 is a growing expectation list with so many boxes that they have to fit into, that the pressure on these animals, whether they have known trauma or not, it's unrealistic and really hard for them. So the hardest part is helping people understand where their dog is coming from and creating space and acceptance with where they're at and navigating what happens if it ends up looking a little different than we thought it would. So it's more about consoling the people on, I know you wanted to go down the left path, but the dog you got might be taking you down the right path, and the right path is just as beautiful. It just looks a little different. Helping them understand that we want their dog to be comfortable versus fit perfectly into the life that they imagine them fitting into.
Wow, that's really interesting. My dog definitely wants to hire you to train me.
Tulip's working up the contract right now.
Right, she is. So you help people train people in a lot of different ways, online, in person. What are some of the ways that people can work with you to become better caretakers of their dog and better partners with their dog?
Great question too. I do a lot of online coaching, and most of what I do is emotional coaching for people that are feeling overwhelmed and anxious and might not have a community of friends and family that understand that a dog could make you feel so many things that are difficult to navigate. So really working on the human end of the leash before we look at the dog's behavior, because so much of a dog's behavior is a reflection of their human. And we don't want to punish a person for that, but we might be able to actually change behavior or achieve a lot of training goals if we first address, like, how are you feeling? And are you actually okay? And it's okay if you're not okay. Let's move you through some of those big emotions. So I do online coaching for people with big feelings, with dogs that have big feelings. And we also have a group community call once a month where people can join at a lower cost so that they can participate and feel supported and truly just know that they're not alone, because navigating a dog with behavioral challenges can be very isolating for people.
That's true.
I love that. I love people with big feelings and dogs with big feelings. I think you just applied words to so many situations that I've seen in my day, and it's like light bulbs are turning on up here. But we previewed it at the beginning of the interview. You've got a wonderful show coming up called The Holistic Way that's going to be airing on DOGTV. We heard you bust 3 common myths about our dogs. So what else can we expect from your new show?
Yeah, this season is very much about little integrative training games or thoughtful things that we can do to allow our dogs more comfort, to allow our dogs more joy, to allow us to connect and be calm together versus rushing around and maybe not feeling super connected. Some solutions for distracted dogs and interactive games you can play that are super simple on walks to allow your dog to just kind of think that you're a bit more fun than you are boring. And yeah, I think my mission and my goal is to help people feel understood and to help dogs feel heard, and that it doesn't have to be serious and hard, and it can be playful and fun and actually quite enjoyable to integrate our well-being with their well-being.
Wow,
That's
I
awesome.
just
I
love.
can't wait
I
to
love
watch.
this.
I'll definitely be tuning in.
Yeah, and I love your
Yeah.
philosophy,
Thanks.
Annika. It's comforting. It's comforting as a dog owner who's had dogs that have had behavior problems to kind of look at it in a different light. So thank you for that. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going
You're
to
welcome.
want to learn more from you, watch The Holistic Way, check you out online, and just thank you so much for joining us today. And best of luck with whatever you're going to do next that's going to benefit people and their dogs.
Next time she comes on the show, she's going to be like, yeah, so I was training dragons in inner China.
You never know.
You never know. You really don't.
Let me tell you, my life is full of surprises, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Absolutely.
That's season
thank
2.
you so much for hopping on the podcast today.
Thank you guys for having me. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
Pets add life.
Kristen, have we ever had a cooler person on this show?
I do not think so. She was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Wolves in Mongolia. Next thing you know, it's gonna be like Komodo dragons in Indonesia. She's gonna do the penguins on the Galapagos Island, and then she's gonna come back and do another show on DOGTV. How wonderful is that?
I know. Well, it's cool how we talked to a lot of dog trainers on this show, and they all have different personalities and energy and approaches. And I think that's really great, because when you are looking for a dog trainer, you have to find somebody that you can relate to or that you feel good working with. And there's somebody for everybody, and she's for me.
Yeah, Annika's a people trainer. She said it herself. She corrected me. Yeah, I don't train dogs. I train people, and I think that's awesome because the onus of becoming a good dog owner is on us, because the dogs really don't know better. So
100%.
that was super cool. Be sure to check out that show, The Holistic Way, airing on DOGTV. So go ahead and check that out. And until then, I can't wait to see what Annika does next.
The product of the week.
All right, folks, you heard the new jingle. It's time for the product of the week. Oh man, so cool. I love having a catchphrase. It really makes me feel solidified. And I'll go first, Kristen. How about that? I've got a simple one. I want to kind of tandem on. I was talking a lot about dog walking with my stuff yesterday and celebrating the world's largest pet walk that just happened this past Saturday. So I want to talk about something that is so simple. I just think every dog owner should have. And we're all pretty familiar with the earth-rated poop bags because they're biodegradable. It's better for the environment, yada, 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 yada. Their new dispenser is, I think it retails at $6. It is a marvel of minimalistic engineering. I mean, it's so easy to load up. It basically like screws out. You load, the bags come with a little cardboard slit so that you can easily get the bag through the slit, peel off the cardboard. It's got a rubber silicone hook to latch onto any belt or any leash. You just loop it through and latch it on. And then it has another hook that has like this little button on it for you to tie off your used poop bags. So you don't have to be carrying around bags of poop like some type of evil Santa Claus. Like it is, I mean, for $6, and I know a lot of times we do product of the week and we're talking about things that are high quality and a little more price forward. This is a very simple product. It's got elegant engineering. It's from a great company. You're probably already buying their bags all the time. Highly recommend it, especially if you're using that belt type leash that I was talking about last year. You could strap this right on, keep all of your hands free for all the other wonderful activities you're going to be doing on that walk. So check it out. Earthrated.com. Again, retails for $6. I'm going to throw the link in the show notes as Kristen talks about her product.
Yes. That's a good one, Chris. Earthrated is a really great, innovative brand. They've also got some cool toys too. So when you go check out the poop bags, check out their toys too. Okay, so my product of the week is called the Snuggle Puppy. And the reason I was looking at this product is because my husband and I are actually considering adopting a dog. And if we do adopt, it will be probably a puppy. So I started to think about all the things I would need to purchase to be ready for a puppy, because you never know when you're going to find the puppy. So you kind of want to be prepared. So what the Snuggle Puppy is it's this little stuffed dog that you can insert this little device that mimics the heartbeat of the mother dog. And you just kind of stuff it inside the Snuggle Puppy. And it's intended to kind of help the puppy transition from leaving their mom to going to their new home. So theoretically, you put this in the bed with them or in their crate, and it's got just a soft little pulsing heartbeat that would be somewhat similar in cadence to the mother dog. And they also even have these little heat packs that you can stuff into the stuffed dog to make it warm. So it's more like a real dog. And let's see, it also helps dogs with anxiety too. So it's not just for puppies, but if you have a dog who's stressed or has anxiety, this has been shown to calm them as well. And I know DOGTV did a big promotion with them at some point, but they're pretty popular. And in case you've never heard of it, I wanted to make sure you know about it, because again, if you are planning on adopting a puppy, or somebody has a puppy, you're looking for a perfect puppy gift, or you have a dog that's anxious, this just might be the thing to calm them down. And you can find them at snugglepuppy.com.
I'd never heard of it. It sounds wonderful. Maybe I just need one for me.
I think you need one.
Yeah, just for me.
When you do get anxious from time to time, so.
Yeah, and a Snuggle Puppy, I mean, count me in. The name's perfect.
It is.
Q&As.
All right, everyone, it's time for our favorite segment of the show. That's right. We're going to answer 2 questions that you folks sent in from home. And if you want your question answered on the show, you could head on over to that brand spanking new website, petsaddlife.org/podcast. Scroll on down to the bottom of the page. You could submit your question right there. Or if you're feeling as brave as a snuggle puppy, you can record a voice memo and you will hear your question played live on this show. With that squared away, all of our housekeeping in order, let's see. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to ask you a question first?
I feel like I always go first. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. All right.
All right. So this question is from James in Austin, Texas. He says, "Oh wait, no, that's it. That's not it. Never mind."
Sorry, Jane.
Sorry. We'll be back to you in a minute, James.
We'll go back to
Samantha.
James. Yeah.
It's from Samantha in Chicago. She's wondering, how often should I give my dog a bath? I want to make sure I'm keeping him clean without drying out his skin. That's a really good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of people have a similar question. And what I will say is, first off, how bad does that dog stink? Right? Like that's number one, because when you think about it, dogs don't regularly bathe if they were left to their own devices. So obviously, like if you take them out in the rain and they get all muddy, you're going to want to give them a bath. If they smell bad, you're going to want to give them a bath. But if you feel like the dog just in general, maybe they like it, I don't know. I'd say like once a month is a good rule of thumb. Now there's a lot of caveats with that. If the dog smells bad, just give them a bath. If the dog has like a more oily coat, they might need to be bathed more often. If they're more active, they need to be bathed more often. And then on the skin side, because you mentioned that, if they have skin sensitivity, they need to be bathed less often. And there's a lot of great products out there that are keen of mind, aware of sensitive skin in dogs. So if you start off with a shampoo and the dog kind of gets irritated, is itching a lot afterwards, keep shopping around, try and find one that's good for a dog with sensitive skin, especially if you have a short-haired dog and that shampoo is really going to be hitting, I don't think you call it a scalp. Is a dog all scalp?
I guess technically.
Yeah. Is somebody, you know what? I'm asking you all a question.
I don't think
this time. Is a dog all scalp?
No, because that would be like saying our whole head is scalp under our hair. And but that is true.
But that is true.
No, I think that's on your head only, right?
Is
scalp?
Under my mustache scalp? These are the important philosophical questions.
Do you bathe your mustache?
I mean, every single time I shampoo my hair, I shampoo that mustache. Right. I mean, I'm not a filthy boy. Anyway, let's get back to this dog. Let's get back to this dog.
Back to the dog.
A short-haired dog, where you're going to be, that shampoo is definitely going to be hitting their skin. Let's just say skin. They might have more of a sensitivity than a long-haired breed where it may be difficult to penetrate the over and undercoat and actually get to their skin. So all of this is to say there are a lot of different variables, but there's no reason that experimentation cannot be enforced here. You just give it a whirl, see what works, see what gives you a good mix of the dog being happy, this dog smelling nice, and the dog's skin being healthy. And whatever you arrive at, that's how often you have to bathe your dog. Great question. Thank you, Samantha. I've got one for you, Kristen. Let's move on. Let's move on from that question into one that I'm sure is going to spark even more sophisticated conversation.
Oh, boy.
From James here in Austin, Texas. Thank you for your question, James. I'm going to just read it as is, and we're going to take it from there. Why does my dog sometimes eat his own feces? It's really gross and concerning. What can I do to stop this behavior? Thank you for clarifying, James, that it's gross and concerning. Without that detail, we would have been lost.
I wanted to take this question because I've been asked about it a lot. And when I worked at the animal shelter, I would come across dogs that did this. And I was very curious as to why they would do this gross behavior. And it's actually, there's actually a scientific term for it. It's called coprophagia. And it's obviously it's a distressing behavior for pet owners. And there are several reasons why your dog may be eating his own poop or other dogs' poop, which might even be grosser. I don't know. So it's either a nutritional deficiency If your dog is lacking certain nutrients, they might be eating it to compensate. It could be for a behavioral reason. They could be doing it out of boredom, anxiety, or as a way to get attention. It could be an instinctual behavior. In the wild, dogs would sometimes eat feces to keep the environment clean or to prevent predators from detecting their scent. Or it could be a medical condition. So there are some malabsorption disorders, parasites, or other medical conditions that you should talk to your vet about that could increase their appetite that could lead to coprophagia. So I would say the first thing I would do is call the vet immediately and get your dog in there and make sure there's not a medical reason for this behavior. If it is, then there's probably something that can be done about it, medication or some type of behavior modification training. And if medical's ruled out and it is a behavior, then there are some other things you can do. Obviously, you can clean it up immediately. If you pick up the poop immediately, your dog won't have a chance to eat it. So, and then of course you can supervise them a little bit better. And there are some deterrents you can use. This is a funny one because there are actually deterrents that you can spray on dog poop to so that your dog won't like the taste of it, which is so strange. But yeah, that's a tough one. And it's like I said, if it is a medical reason or a nutritional reason and you can rectify the situation, that's hopefully that's the situation because that's probably the easiest way to solve the problem. Otherwise, it's a behavior issue. You're going to have to keep a closer eye, pick up that poop, and do your best to manage the problem best you can.
What Kristen's trying to say, James, is maybe your dog's just a freak. Maybe he's just a bit freaky. I've got no advice. This horrifies me. It is disgusting. And I can't believe that there's somebody out there who is like sitting there in a lab coat in an engineering room going, I know how we fix this. We make the poop taste worse. And they develop these products to make the poop taste worse.
Right.
And this guy's probably rolling in cash too, because there's a lot of dogs with these issues.
That's a yucky note to end on. But hey, props to James for stepping up and asking the question. I know that it's an embarrassing thing for you to be dealing with.
It could be embarrassing to ask. So I'm sorry I'm giggling a little bit, but it's nasty, man. It's nasty. Oh, man. All right. Well, listen, on that wonderful note, we are ending on a high note. This has been truly a posh, poised, and professional episode. We covered all sorts of topics from dying to eating your own poop. I mean, that's a pet podcast.
A messed up show.
So, yeah, pets add life. More like pets add deterrence to the poop so the dogs don't eat it. I can't get over it, man. It's going to be stuck in my head all night.
Thank God for our guests today, because otherwise this show would have been
just completely unhinged with no substance. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we're doing, if you think our potty humor is funny, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. And if you don't think it's funny, give us a 5-star review and write in the comments why. Like, give me some notes. Give me some notes on, whether I should go bigger, smaller, less poop jokes, more poop jokes, whatever you think. But still leave those 5 stars. Share the show with a friend, and be sure to check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. Kristen, anything else to add before we send them on their way?
Nope. Just watch where you step.
Just watch where you step. You never know when you'll step in a fresh episode of the Pal Podcast. We'll see you all next Tuesday. Until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to your pets, and we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.